Deputy President Paul Mashatile is in France for the South Africa-France Investment Conference. The meetings in Paris are expected to facilitate improved cooperation on areas including infrastructure development, science and technology innovation, as well as education. Mashatile will also use his time in Paris for a working visit, which will focus on the bilateral relationship between the nations. The Deputy President says France is the 14th largest investor in South Africa, with about 400 French companies investing in sectors such as finance, renewable energy, rail, chemicals, oil and gas. Mashatile says since the first presidential investment conference hosted in 2018, French companies have committed more than 70 billion rand, with the majority of projects either completed or being implemented.
We want to consolidate our trade relations with France. Obviously, we've had long trade relations with them, bilateral relations, but we also want to expand our markets here in France, but also invite many of their companies to come and invest in South Africa. There are already a lot of French companies in South Africa, but we want more, particularly in the field of energy, logistics. We want investments in our ports, in our rail system, passenger rail, Transnet, and so on. So those are the engagements we're going to have with them. There will be a conference where there will be a number of French business firms, but also there are South African companies that are coming, including state-owned enterprises. I'm accompanied by a number of ministers and deputy ministers on this trip as well, who will also be having bilateral engagements with their counterparts. I will later in the week have a meeting with President Macron, and also on Friday with the Prime Minister as well, just to ensure that at the state-to-state level, we also consolidate our relationship.
A little earlier this year, we had the Global Gateway. Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commission President, was in South Africa for that announcement to the tune of nearly 5 billion euros. How important is this trip to consolidate that, and can we expect a building on that partnership between not just France, but the EU and South Africa?
Very important, because we not only consolidating our relationship with France, we also want to ensure that we do that with the European Union. So there will be more engagement with other countries in the EU as well, as we expand our markets. For us, very important. We see the EU as a very important ally at the moment.
Considering these tensions with Washington, just can you speak a little bit about how important other partnerships are becoming, especially the likes of France, the EU, and are you asking for European allies to step up and do more with that partnership, considering the volatility, the uncertainty when it comes to ties with Washington?
Indeed, we want them to do more. We're not obviously giving up on the US. The fact that the president is going there to engage with President Trump is an indication that we consider that relationship very important. The US is our second biggest trading partner after China, but it's important that we also consolidate other markets. In fact, we had already been doing it. As you recall, last year I was in the UK talking to investors. We had also planned this trip long before President Trump came into office. So we really continue to do what we have been planning to do to expand our markets. Even with France, we want to ensure that we expand our markets, for instance, in citrus fruits, other agricultural products. We're doing the same now in the East. So we are going to be doing this in a number of countries now, not only in the EU, but also in the East.
And more trade, of course, is the priority this week. There's been talk from some European member states pressuring the European Union to do more when it comes to talking to BRICS members urging them to change their stance when it comes to the war in Ukraine. Have you had much of that sense of that push, those calls intensifying from the EU when it comes to South Africa's stance with Russia and Ukraine?
Well, you know, we are non-aligned, so we are not taking sides. We've made it clear we have called for peace in Ukraine. We have engaged the Russians. Recently, President Zelensky came to South Africa. The president engaged him too, that let's find a solution in Ukraine. So we're going to continue on that approach, and hopefully a lot of other countries will understand our position, that we are there, we want peace, and we are convinced that peaceful negotiations will bring about the lasting solutions there.